Get your Gameface on. Get your Gameface
G'day
on.
and welcome to another big edition of the Gameface Sfnl Division 4 footy show here in the salubrious surrounds of the Gameface studio. Will Hunt is my name and I'm joined by Paddy Cook as I always am. Paddy, lovely to have you alongside me.
Cheers, mate. Great to be here. Good to be talking about footy. And how you feeling?
On the improve, mate. Yeah, massive improvement from the croaky voice last week. Slowly coming back, but yeah, getting there, mate.
Good to hear, mate.
Do notice that our man Russell Robertson not here with us this evening.
No, off big wig, innit?
Yeah, no, he's actually been dropped to the twos, otherwise known as Channel 10. So he's going off and doing his own thing today. So no, we'll see his stuff as we heard last week, a bit later in the year, which will be very exciting. Some good stuff coming out there. Some top stories this week. Some low scores across the board. The weather, as you know, was pretty crappy, but nevertheless, there was some interesting results. The finals venues, they got announced during the week as well. We'll dissect that, Paddy. And, of course, the run home's getting very, very interesting for a few clubs. But before we go any further, let's take a look at what went on during the weekend with a Gameface app update. G'day, guys. Well, it was a cracking weekend of Sfnl footy. And if you weren't checking out the Gameface record app this week, you missed a ton of stuff. In Division 4, and Dandenong flew out of the blocks with a 5-goal opening stanza to surprise Moorabbin, but they couldn't maintain it for the 4 quarters as the Kangas won by 32 points. Lindale could only manage 1 goal in their loss to the Arrows, while Lyndhurst and Frankston outclassed Hallam and CPL. To the reserves, and the Red Leagues fell 16 points short of Moorabbin in the twos, one of their best performances for the year, while Lindale upset the Yarras to keep themselves in finals contention. To the latter, and Dandenong have moved off the bottom on percentage. Lyndhurst still leads the way there ahead of Frankston, while the Dolphins are out in front in the reserves ahead of Hallam and Lyndhurst. Now, guys, remember, there's plenty more to see on the Gameface record app, including all the live scores, latest news headlines, post-game interviews, goal-kicking leaderboards, and the weekly top 10 player rankings, which is always a great topic of conversation, with all divisions of footy and netball covered. So make sure you get involved with that by downloading the Gameface record app for free from the App Store or Google Play. Get your Gameface. Yes, very nicely done. Wilbur, geez, he does some great work, doesn't he?
He does. We probably need to get him a nice little red dress, though, so he can, be an actual Jane Button. But, yeah, he does a great job, that Will.
He'd fill it out very, very well, I have a feeling. But as we spoke off the top, the venues were announced for Division 4 finals. Keysborough, just straighten up a little bit. Thanks, Paddy.
Sorry.
Keysborough will again host the finals for Division 4 this season.
Yep.
No change from last year. They held it last year, and you guys obviously at Lyndhurst last year had a pretty good look at it.
Yeah, we did. We spent a bit of time down there. We went and measured it. We trained there. We also adjusted our oval to train on similar size leading into the finals. So I can tell you that it's 25 metres shorter than Lyndhurst, in width, 25 metres in width smaller than Lyndhurst, and it's about 4 metres lengthways shorter as well. So it's not too much difference. Obviously, the width will be the big thing, but probably a very similar size to what Frankston play on. So,
yep.
Yeah, will be very handy for them, for those two sides. The ones that it won't benefit so much will be probably Moorabbin if they're there to make it. It's not really an advantage to them, and South Yarra won't like that too much either, I wouldn't think.
No, certainly not Moorabbin. Their ground's a comparative postage stamp, but I guess South Yarra they're only just getting acclimatised to their new ground, which, let's be honest, is a massive improvement in size from their previous one.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely an interesting venue and interesting insight that you guys did a bit of homework last year, so no doubt your guys, given they made it through to the big dance last year, would be pretty familiar with it.
Yeah, you would think so. Frankston as well, though. Frankston will hold no fears about playing there because it'll really suit them and the way they play their footy as well. So Lyndhurst and Frankston are the two sides that come out of that as real big winners. So
absolutely, and the ground down at Lyndhurst, that is as wide a ground as you're likely to get. So
yep. Not in great nick, I'm hearing at the moment, though.
No.
No, I'm hearing that has got next to no grass on it and is holding a fair bit of water, which is very unusual. So, yeah, interesting.
That explains the low scores down at that ground, which we'll touch on in just a moment. But Dandenong, they've been steadily improving throughout the season, and they gave Moorabbin a bit of a fright on the weekend. We picked Moorabbin Kangas to get the chocolates, and we also expected this one to sort of be a bit of a shootout. And if you have a look at the scores, probably not in isolation, but when you compare them to the scores from around the grounds in Division 4, certainly one of the more higher scoring affairs.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about Moorabbin a fair bit with their ability to score, but they're also very heavily scored against as well. And Dandenong has shown here that Moorabbin can be scored against. But Dandenong really, really improving. They've I expected them to give a fight, but I didn't quite expect the scores to be at halftime what they were. That's a massive effort by Dandenong. They've really put up a fight in this one.
And 5 goals to 1 at quarter time is a fantastic start.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's with a massive breeze though, because the conditions on Saturday weren't great for footy, but Moorabbin came home with it strong. So from where I'm looking at it, I'm thinking they kicked with the wind in the start. So
wind doesn't necessarily kick your goals though, Paddy. You got to make full use of it, and full credit to Dandenong. Maybe in years past they might not have posted that sort of total to the first change. So
absolutely not.
We say it every week. They're definitely heading in the right direction, but that was certainly from the scores looks like the match of the round. But we have a look at the other 3 losing scores. Lindale 1 goal 2, Hallam 2 goals 5, and CPL 3 goals 5. Not a lot across the other games.
No, not a great day for footy. The Lindale score doesn't really surprise me because, unfortunately, I think that's just where they're at the moment.
Yep.
I don't think we're going to see too much from them in a fight for the rest of the season because they're not in a great spot. So, yeah. But Hallam against Lyndhurst, that was a really low-scoring game. I'd hate to have seen the conditions for that one. So,
yeah, that was down at Lyndhurst, and
yes.
as you said, the ground not looking in great nick, which is unusual because it's always been one of the better looking grounds in the competition. So hopefully they can get fixed up in the coming weeks. Now the run home, Paddy, that's shaping up to be an interesting one at the moment. We saw a game last week, Hallam and Moorabbin, which obviously very pivotal in the overall scheme of things. Put them a game clear of put Moorabbin a game clear of Hallam, and with Moorabbin and Hallam their results over the weekend, that's now extended to 2 games and 15%. So it's certainly shaping up to be an interesting one, especially with some of the sides that they're coming up against.
Yeah, having a look at Moorabbin's run home, they haven't really got an easy run at all, and for them to make finals, they've got South Yarra, Lindale, Lyndhurst, Frankston, then CPL. They really have to win two of those when you'd lock down Lindale as a win. CPL in the last round is going to be huge for them. Moorabbin have the ability to knock off a Lyndhurst or a Frankston when everything's going right.
Yep.
But their defensive pressure probably lets them down a little bit, and that's where they get caught out against some of those better sides. So that last round against CPL will be huge for them. Yeah,
absolutely. And if we have a look at the Hawks run home, Frankston, CPL, Lindale, Dandenong, South Yarra.
Yep.
That middle patch of CPL, Lindale, Dandenong, that's an opportunity to put 3 wins on the board and a little bit of percentage as well, just to make up that 15%. So they are right in the mix despite what the ladder looks at the moment.
Yeah, well and truly. They've probably got to pinch a 4th game from that somewhere though. So you'd lock in those 3 in the middle, and although CPL can be a tough game, CPL are in it, but for where they are, who knows at the moment. But Hallam, you'd say lock in 3. That last game against South Yarra, that's going to be make or break for them, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it will be for CPL and Moorabbin in the last round as well. Yep. We can obviously, Frankston will probably get the chocolates over both of those sides. They're probably a cut above. Going down to CPL, they're level on wins with Hallam at the moment. Gee whiz, their percentage is doing them no favours at the moment. They come up against Lindale, Hallam, Dandenong, South Yarra, Moorabbin. So similar sort of sides.
Yeah.
Lindale and Dandenong, obviously the ones they're targeting, but obviously after that they're probably pushing the smelly stuff up the hill.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them. You'd look at all those games in isolation and you'd say that they're all winnable.
Yep.
But then at the same point, CPL's form hasn't been to where it should have been this year. Kane's done a fantastic job. He's worked his butt off. They've had a lot of injuries, but I don't know. I think they're probably just out of it now. I can't see them getting 4 wins out of that. And you look at them in isolation and go, I think they could win that. I think they could win that. But when you look at it, it's 4 out of their last 5, and they've only won 5 for the year.
Yep.
I can't see them getting it.
I think a good mark of where a team sits, Paddy, is you have a look at their percentage, and 74% does not scream finals bound for me, or even finals contention. So I agree with you. We draw a line through those. But if you're gazing into your crystal ball, mate, which of those two sides do you reckon, and we can revisit this in a couple of weeks' time, do you think will be playing finals?
From where it is now, I think Moorabbin will play finals. They've got the spot; it's theirs to lose. They're 2 games clear. They absolutely should be playing finals from where they're at. But Hallam, for me, is probably the side that could do a little bit of damage. They could surprise someone if they snuck into finals. I can't see Moorabbin knocking off any of those 3 sides above them.
Yeah, correct. I think if Moorabbin make it, they are straight out first week, no questions asked. And I know that probably sounds a little bit harsh, but
it is harsh. And Moorabbin will probably, put this up and say, no one believes in it, and they'll use it themselves. And good on them if they do,
because they probably should.
Yeah, you got to do whatever you can. But unfortunately, Moorabbin just aren't up to where those next 3 sides are. And Hallam, I don't know, something about them. They could just pinch one.
I'm looking at them, Paddy, and I actually might go against you. I know it's Moorabbin's to lose, but I think Hallam may just surprise. I think they may just surprise one of those sides, and I think they might just sneak in. I know it's a bit of a long shot, but I don't mind an underdog story, Paddy. And from what I've seen of Hallam throughout the season, I reckon they've got what it takes, and I'm going to back them in. So Hallam will play finals.
So for looking at that, so you think that Moorabbin will win 2 games?
Yep.
And you think that Hallam will win 4 and gain that 15%?
I think that Hallam is certainly capable of beating South Yarra in that final round to make it 4. Whether they do or not remains to be seen, because a lot can happen between now and then. I think you can pencil Moorabbin in for at least 2 wins. CPL could go either way, as you say. It's a long way into the future, but Hallam can definitely make up that percentage boost with the sides that we mentioned, CPL, Lindale and Dandenong. So I reckon they've got what it takes, and I reckon they can just about do it.
Yeah, good.
Cool. Alrighty, just moving on to the Swibs Locker Division 4 Team of the Week. It's what everyone looks forward to every single week, Paddy. Let's kick it off with the backline. Let's not waste people's time here and now. This is what the people want.
That's what they're here for.
This is what people will get. So kick it off from the backline, Paddy Cook.
We've got from the backline Matt Pascasio from Frankston Dolphins, Zach Marr from South Yarra, and Luke Long from Frankston Dolphins.
An impressive backline there from the halfbacks. Ash Allen from Hallam, Brendan Murphy from Frankston Dolphins, and our man Kevin Twite keeping his spot.
He has, and massive congratulations to Kevin on getting engaged on Sunday. So well done, mate. Your life's over.
Man.
All right, from the centre line, Brenton Rafferty from CPL, Ben Black from Frankston Dolphins, and Jared Murphy from Lyndhurst.
Ooh, that's a good centre line. Don't mind that. Half forwards, Brandon Bird from South Yarra. He's been an impressive pickup for the Yarras this year. Hamish Browning from Lyndhurst, centre half forward, just patrolling that area nicely. And Scotty Levy from Moorabbin, rounding out the half forwards.
And from the full forward line, we've got Jared McGrath from Lyndhurst, Phil Muscat from Dandenong, kicked another 3. He's been very consistent this year, and Edward Moroney from South Yarra.
Phil Muscat's been very handy find for Dandenong and kicked a bulk of their goals throughout the year. And as we say, great to see them on the improve. Mitch Latimer taking the number 1 ruck spot this week from Frankston Dolphins. Scotty Steghouse, he has been a constant figure in this team of the week. And Charlie Gardner from Lyndhurst rounding out the rucks.
And on the interchange is Jaden Denmead from Lindale, Mark Simons from South Yarra, Zednek Holsterlek from Moorabbin, and Jack Charlassian from Hallam.
Had a bit of a run through the guts. Did Jack on the weekend?
Yeah,
I believe,
that's what we're hearing, and put up a bit of a show. So well done.
Geez, he's a classy operator. Very good pick up there for the Hawks, and just so versatile. Can get it done up forward in the guts. Can even go back and do a little bit of damage, which is great. So he'll also be vital for their chances for finals. So interesting to see how that pans out.
We said it at the start of the year about him. He's just one of those blokes who doesn't look like a footballer, but just gets the job done. So, yeah, massive pickup.
Yeah, good work rate and, very impressive player. Alrighty, round 14 is just about upon us, and let's have a look at the tips. Thanks to Mel Safe. First game coming up, Dandenong versus Lyndhurst. Unfortunately, I think that might be one-way traffic, but couple of outs for Lyndhurst, I reckon.
Yeah, Lyndhurst have got a few outs this week, but that said, they've got the depth to be able to cover where Dandenong's at, and they should win convincingly.
No disrespect to Dandenong at all, but they've probably picked a good week for them to be missing a couple of blokes for a wedding, I think.
Yeah, a wedding from a past player who gets married through footy season. I mean,
we say it every
ridiculous.
Come on,
you've got a 5-month period to book that sort of stuff in.
Yeah,
Get it
cricket
done,
season. Not happy with it, by the way, but that's a separate issue. ICC, get your shit together. That's not on. Hallam versus Frankston Dolphins. This will be an interesting one for both sides. Obviously, we spoke of the Hawks and their challenge for finals. This is one of the must-win games for them.
Hallam at their best can match it with anyone. The problem is that they struggle to maintain that best footy for long periods, and they do get found out a bit. Frankston will win this, but it'll be a close match.
I think so too. I think on their home deck, they're a vastly better side. If it was at Frankston Dolphins ground, it would be 10 goals plus, I think. But Hallam will be competitive. Frankston in a close one, probably a couple of goals either way. Yep. CPL versus Lyndale. Probably a game of the also Rans, I think. CPL probably we've scratched them from the finals race, but an opportunity to put a win on the board for them.
Well, that's it. They've got the ability to actually jump Hallam this week with a win here. If Hallam lose and CPL get the win over Lyndale, they'll jump into that 5th spot, and it may be a little bit flattering to them. So I'm picking CPL, but I don't think it'll be a huge win.
I think they'll be too good as well. Lyndale, unfortunately, not much to like there. He's done the best he can. Has Rod Ellis down there, but it's a tough ask. And for the guys down there, keep plodding along. The wins will come at some stage. And the final game, South Yarra taking on Moorabbin. A very, very crucial one for both sides.
This is absolutely match of the round.
By a long way.
Yeah, this could be the first week of finals as well. I think South Yarra will win, and they'll win comfortably for me. Moorabbin are good, but they're not up to those top 3, and I don't think there's a lot that separates those top 3. So South Yarra comfortably for me.
The other thing, and we might actually look at this next week, Paddy, is the race for the top 3. I mean, the top 3 sides, I think, are vastly better than the 5 sides below them. Yep. But 3 doesn't go into 2. So if you want that double chance, you've actually got to start winning some games and stringing together some consistent performances. South Yarra certainly in the mix. Yep. Lyndhurst and Frankston, they're obviously very, very good sides. So South Yarra have it with some work to do. But they can make a very, very good start this week by celebrating a massive win over Moorabbin. The percentage will be important. Yep. And I reckon that they'll get the chocolates in this one, and they'll win very, very comfortably. Yeah, it'll send a bit of a message too that they do take themselves very seriously, South Yarra, and they do think they're in the mix if they put Moorabbin away very early. So 100%. I don't think they're 4 points behind Lyndhurst, and probably won't make that up this week, given they're playing the Red Legs, the Lyndhurst boys. So, but definitely they'll keep them in the hunt with that one. Yep. Alrighty, that's a show for this week. Nice and short and sharp, and just flying through it. Paddy?
That's how I do things, mate. Nice and quick and get it over and done with.
I'm not touching that one, but
I led you right into it too.
Amen. Robbo wouldn't have let that one go, but I'm a classier operator. There's no doubt about that. Maybe we might get Robbo next week. Maybe we won't. We'll have to see. Yeah, he'll probably be off winning gold logies or something like that. But in the meantime, it was great to have you and your insights. Always very appreciated in the Division 4 competition.
Thanks, mate. I'll do my best.
A big weekend coming up for you too, by the way.
Yeah, I've got a 10-year premiership reunion this year, so...
10 years already, jeez, it flies by.
Oh, it feels like it was yesterday, but yeah, exciting, looking forward to it.
Must have been a 15-year-old run around in that premiership side.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. I'm not going anywhere. I'll just leave it. So,
down at Sky, obviously, big day down there.
Yeah, down at Sky. So, I think they play Murrumbina this week. So I think there's a bit of a past players day through the day. I won't be able to get to that, but as soon as my commitments in the afternoon are done, I'll be heading straight down there to catch up with some past players that I'm really looking forward to. So,
and you probably won't be home until Tuesday, and you'll be touch and go for next week.
It has been mentioned that I probably should look at taking the Monday off work, which I haven't done, but my wife has said that she's going to come for the first little bit and then she'll probably be out the door. So I may be home late Sunday afternoon at some stage.
Don't worry, Ray. The boys will look after him. No, very good. Excellent show, as I said, and great to have you on board. Should be a big weekend of Division 4 footy coming up. You have a great weekend, and
cheers, mate. We'll do. Stay safe.
Have a couple of beers on me. Drink responsibly, obviously, and to you guys out there, make sure you get involved in the footy this week. Enjoy the footy. Hope your team wins. We'll catch you next week for another episode of the Sfnl Division 4 Footy Show. Thanks to Gameface. Get your Gameface on.
Get your Gameface on.